Michigan State wins 66-60. They do it at home, but against an Ohio State team missing two of its three best players, did it look good enough? I'm not sure.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Mazda. We put that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moments, putting in the work that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week right here on the number one ranked Locked On Podcast Network. Please rate, review, subscribe, and comment below whether you thought this game had enough style points attached to it for this Michigan State victory. And I know that this comes across as being a bit of a tool, right? You know, oh, here we go. We're just complaining about conference wins. But last I checked, we're all Michigan State fans here. And last I checked, that calendar reads February 22nd. So, yeah, it's crunch time. It's time to start looking at every single game a little closer under the microscope. And look, we're going to talk about both the good and the bad here. But man, oh man, when Ohio State, we almost got an answer to a question actually in the pregame show. And we chatted with Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes. I asked him, hey, can Bruce Thornton win a game straight up by himself, or does he need a Robin? And he said, yeah, he does need a Robin. Well, John Mobley, he was out, which we already knew going into this game, and we didn't find out until right before tip. Devin Royal, the other great player for Ohio State, he's out for the game, and we almost saw if Bruce Thornton can win a game by himself. That was a little too hairy for my liking, but hey. A win is a win. We will take it. So let's talk about the good things that happened in this one. I'm not going to just be curmudgeon-y right off the bat and just start crying over a win immediately. No, we'll work our way there, okay? So, guys, in this 66-60 win, what went well for our Spartans? Well, how about Carson Cooper? Woo! Season-high 20 points for the kid, 11 rebounds. Now, that's his first time in double figures rebounding the ball since the Rutgers game at the end of January. It's been a little bit of a turbulent stretch here, not just for Coop, but also the front court as a whole, I would say. Kohler, Cam Ward, too. And we talked about that in the build-up to this game, that this could be a good bounce-back spot for Carson Cooper, for Jackson Kohler, because Ohio State's front court isn't anything you write home about necessarily, and you talk about taking full advantage of it. He did it in every way possible, of course, on the boards. Also, that nice little elbow spot-up jumper in a time against a defense where they were limiting Michigan State to largely jump shot opportunities, especially in the first half, and Carson Cooper seemed like he was the only guy that was cashing in on those. Jordan Scott, we want to highlight him too because 12 points total on the game, but 10 of those came in the second half, including a strong putback to go up 51-47, and sure, just a 4-point victory, but for me, that's when it really felt like the tide was fully turning for Michigan State, and it was time to just run away with that momentum. Despite the last minute of that game, shades of that Iowa game from a few years ago, you know which one I'm talking about. Now, Jeremy Fears, he was fine. He was solid, 11 points. 9 of them came in the second half. I almost felt like just a little calmer going into halftime with him only having 2 points, because how many times have we seen it this season where he's a little dulcet in the first half, and then he just comes alive and takes care of business in the second half, especially in front of a home crowd. He seems to like doing that. Once again, you got that. And I also do want to shout out Jackson Kohler, too, because you might just say, okay, that's cool. He had 9 points, 10 rebounds. That's nothing out of the ordinary for him necessarily. But he did all of that work in just 17 minutes. He was, of course, badgered with foul trouble most of the evening. I should say afternoon, rather. But he led in the box score with a plus 15 in the plus minus. So, well, guys, in the second half, that's obviously where Michigan State turned everything around. They were more aggressive getting into the paint. Ohio State's paint defense weakened up a little bit here. And, well, you got 18 paint points in this second half. Not too shabby. And, my God, you almost put your head through the drywall in the first half, because Michigan State had no problem getting offensive rebounds, but oh boy, was getting the ball in the hoop. It's like they were trying to throw a basketball inside of a water bottle. Nothing was going in for them in the first half, but they got 11 second chance points. So shout out to the rebounding, which, speaking of rebounding, they obliterated Ohio State on the boards. Expected to win that margin going into this game, but man, to the tune of 43-26, that one gets a certified yowie. That is taking care of business. But that also transitions us to the bad here, because it's not to say Ohio State never tried on the boards. I mean, they probably knew the writing was on the wall who was going to win this battle. But also, to beat Michigan State, you want to limit what they can do with up-tempo game in transition. And you saw that with the UCLA game. It wasn't necessarily all, highlighted with fast break points necessarily. But if you let Michigan State run on you, even when they get settled into a half-court offense, if it's a little too fast of tempo, your defense will be off schedule. And if your defense is off schedule, well, Michigan State's going to pounce on you. And if you get back, you set up your home, you iron the curtains, you get the light bulbs right. Like, you're just comfortable with your defense by the time MSU brings the ball up the court. It's going to make their half-court offense a little bit sluggish here. So, yes, Ohio State, I think, sacrificed a little bit on the boards just to make sure they got back on defense. And you saw that in spades in the first half. Michigan State couldn't get out running. They were stagnant in the first half. So that was a little bit of a bummer here. And the writing was on the wall with how that first half was going to go immediately. First 4 minutes, you're seeing the great defense. You're seeing Michigan State out-rebound Ohio State 7-1. But yet, 4 turnovers out of the gate. 2 fouls on Jackson Kohler, and you're up just 4-2. And there was, of course, the 5-minute stretch in the first half where you are scoreless. And now, here's the reason why I'm maybe just a little unnerved here in a post-game victory show. This game happens in mid-January. Maybe we're doing the full segment of just about sunshine, rainbows, everything good that happened. But man, oh man, in a few weeks here, call it 2-3 weeks, whether you want to care about the Big Ten tournament or not, but I think we all care about the tournament after that one. You do a 5-minute stretch without scoring in the tournament, that ain't Ohio State missing 2 of their 3 best players. That's not at a home court. Like, you cannot escape a situation like that every single time. And I'll be damned if you do it more times than often in March here. But yeah, there's just turnovers. There was no finishing down low. Yes, Carson Cooper had a really good game, but outside of him, especially when Jackson Kohler, he's sitting on the bench with foul trouble. And okay, that means extended minutes for Cam Ward. So having a little bit of a tough stretch here on the offensive side lately. Jesse McCulloch, obviously that offensive game is still a patchwork. Oh boy. Okay. But of course it wasn't all their fault here. MSU was a team in the first half, actually, even outside of just this 5-minute stretch, was 0-4 on layups and just 8 points in the paint in the first half. But man, oh man, when Jackson Kohler is out with foul trouble, not only are taking away a really good player just for who he is, but specifically the 3-point shooting of which he offers. And when you're going against a zone defense, that's going to be a massive issue here. I mean, because look, and I just thought it was pretty interesting too. And not to just, berate our Hall of Fame head coach here. I just raised an eyebrow at this. Michigan State clearly having a hard time putting the ball in the cup, having a hard time creating their own shots, having a hard time really being a 3-point threat. And it wasn't until 4 minutes and 30 seconds into that scoreless stretch where we finally let Trey Fort get into the game and do what he does best, just jack up shots and at least create shots for him. Look, it's clear that he doesn't do much, but he can generate shooting. And I thought it was interesting that they let it go that long before they put Trey Fort in the game. But again, maybe it's splitting hairs, but I think at this point in the season, I'll say it again, with the postseason kind of looming over us, yeah, I do get a little skittish with a 5-minute scoreless stretch. And let's not kid ourselves. This isn't the only time here in the last few games where we've seen the half-court offense kind of look, you can't be looking, every game in March. Look, I love our defense. I think our rebounding's spectacular. I still think that this team can make the second weekend, but oh boy, that ceiling of a Final Four team becomes less and less of a percentage in my head as these games go forward here. So I know this is going to upset people. Like, look, you celebrate every win, every conference win. The team, showed up when it really counted there in the last 10 minutes of the game. But, against an injured Ohio State team at home. Okay, well, I thought it'd look a little better. We're still going to talk about that game. We're going to get to your thoughts here in a hot segment. First, you need to talk your ears off about Indeed because, yes, workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, the inbox is overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still open. Guys, we all know how that feels if you own a business. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. We're talking skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate just stumbles across your post randomly. No. Guys, it's going to help out with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. As a matter of fact, in the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to the Indeed data worldwide. So guys, spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show, you're going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job to premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Also, guys, look your best this upcoming spring with the one, the only Alumni Hall. Because Alumni Hall has the largest selection of officially licensed gear. We're talking all the top brands like Nike, Columbia, Yeti, New Era. And guys, jump on this right now. Champion t-shirts, mix and match, 2 for $40 for those high quality t-shirts, guys. And they're also really taking care of the Spartan community. Michigan State students and faculty, as well as military and all first responders, get 10% off in the store with a valid ID. And on top of all that, go ahead, follow them on social media. There's more deals there. Go ahead, download the Alumni Hall app. There's more deals there, guys. Or, you know what, just mosey on in to Alumni Hall in the Eastwood Town Center in Lansing near the Apple Store, or shop online or through their app. And best part is, for every $150 you spend, you get $10 in hall cash to use for the next time. So grab the new game day look or upgrade your tailgate with Alumni Hall, your ultimate Michigan State shopping destination. All right, not too many more gripes about this game. I actually, oddly enough, felt confident going into halftime here. And I tweeted out that Luka Garza conspiracy that he had on another podcast, who I can't remember the name of, I'm sorry. But he said that he has a conspiracy that Breslin Center deliberately has stiffer rims on one side of the court. So they shoot better in the second half, and the other team gets the bad rims in the second half. So I was feeling okay with that. That's only like half the reason. But also, man, in the first half, you saw Bruce Thornton, who's a special player. I can't wait to never play him ever again. Anyway, in the first half, he goes off for 16. Michigan State can't buy a shot. Jackson Kohler's in foul trouble, and yet you were only down 3. It really felt like Michigan State, as long as they showed up with 70% of a pulse in the second half, it would be okay. But there were some things that still concerned me in the second half, like I wasn't a big fan personally of the Denim Wojcik, Kurtang, Jesse McCulloch lineup that gave up a 5-0 run like the millisecond Michigan State had some momentum. I wasn't thrilled with that. Again, splitting hairs. If this game happens in the middle of December or January, I don't even mention this, but now we're at the point where having a lineup like that on the court in March Madness seems like a little bit of a reality, but maybe Izzo won't be that crazy. But yeah, that was... I was nonplussed to see that one. And also, this has nothing to do with Michigan State, how they play today, how it's going to affect them in March, although maybe it will. But I'm all set, and I know a lot of Michigan State fans are, and I know that opposing fans don't agree with this whatsoever, because there is nothing that makes them happier than the following. I'm all set with the Jeremy Fears montage, the millisecond he grazes another player or gets tossed off balance and thrown into someone else's body, just like what happened here in the second half. Now, I do feel bad for that Ohio State player. He caught it right in the family jewels, man. I can't actually, I know for a fact that doesn't feel good, because my son got me right where it hurts with those perfectly heightened shopping carts at Costco. Decided to kick his leg, and I got the same treatment that Ohio State player had. But enough about me. Let's talk about this. The producers could not have been quicker to get to that Jeremy Fears montage, which, of course, we've talked about it a lot on this show. The trip on the axle, not a good look, not ideal. The following game against Minnesota, trying to kick a guy's gonads up to the top of his skull, that's not a good look. But then I think, what was the third one they threw in there? The Illinois play, which, like, that ultimately was ruled not a foul, and it didn't even look like a foul unless you're a certified Jeremy Fears hater, which in that case, you want him thrown in jail for 8 to 15 years. I get it. This time around, again, I get it. We're going to go to the booth, check on it, but oh man, immediately roll that footage of the producers in No's truck that put that package together, foaming at the mouth to get that on the television. So I'm all set with it. That doesn't mean we're done. And when I say like this actually could maybe impact Michigan State in March is, yeah, it's clear it's not just the haters online or the producers in the truck. Like the referees and opposing coaches who can sometimes request for things to be looked at again. Yeah, they've got their telescope on Jeremy Fears too. So, hey, should anything off happen in March Madness, of course you're going to go right to the booth, and then you just put it up in fate's hands at that point. I thought today was egregious. I know that every person that hates Michigan State will not agree with that, but if you've played sports, or if you've just, I guess, lived with four limbs, you know that sometimes when you're jumping in the air and someone bumps into you, things can get a little, just a touch out of control. And when there's a guy roughly 4 inches away from you, well, that's going to be collateral damage. I don't know what to tell you. God, I think I'm just talking in reality. I know every rival fan is going to say, oh, I'm making excuses again, but it just is what it is, guys. Anyway, guys, I just want to get to a few of your thoughts here, because I did have the post-game video on Twitter, and I said, hey, give me your thoughts here. And let's just go through them right now on Twitter here. MSU Realist wrote in, it's time to have a conversation about Kohler and this team in general. There's no world where this team wins more than one game in the tournament. They aren't good, period. Lately, I think you could say that about Kohler. I just think today's the wrong game for that. If you want to be upset with his foul trouble, sure. I think the first two in the first half were not good for him. And then the third foul, I don't think was a foul, but that's neither here nor there. I thought he just played fine today, guys. I mean, again, 9 points. He had a 3, 10 rebounds. But, yeah, I think that you're fair to have a conversation about this team in general and what their true ceiling actually is. I don't think picking on Kohler is the right time for that right now. Tony Stark. Wow, the Tony Stark wrote in here. I think at this point with this team, we just got to take the wins and hope they land in a fun/friendly part of the bracket. We'll get to the bracket here in a little bit. Jeremy getting more tournament experience will be huge for next year. So some people out there are already thinking of next year, which, let's be honest, this is going to be a really fun time, especially if you could find a center for next year too. And you know what? Tangent. We're going off on it. Puff Johnson, and I've railed on this a few weeks ago, but Puff Johnson getting granted a 6th year of eligibility in the middle of this year to play as a 25-year-old player, where in each of his first 5 seasons, he played at least 14 games. Tell me why Michigan State shouldn't petition for Carson Cooper to come back next year. And I'm well aware he's never faced any major injury issues or anything, but who cares anymore? Just petition for it. Find some judge with an MSU law degree, have them sign whatever temporary restraining order is needed, and let's get Cooper back for a 5th year because, yeah, we're going to need a center for next season. Anyway, back to your guys' thoughts here. Torres Muse. That's right, big fan of Gleyber Torres. Congratulations for him signing that deal in this offseason. I think this team can only go far in March if their starting 5 plays all 40 minutes. Really want to fight you on that, but boy, do I find myself agreeing with you. I feel like even if 2 of those guys are off the court, the offense and defense are weak. Now, that's not to poo-poo on our whole entire bench, right? Like Kurt Tank, it's obvious he's come in and he's had some big moments. Not necessarily today, as he had 2 of 9 shooting, and boy, is he really trying to work on getting to the rack. How about we just hang out in the perimeter like we are who we are at this point in the season, Kerr? I love the tenacity and enthusiasm. Would have loved to see that worked on in January, December. Anyway, but yeah, outside of that, Cam Ward, he's offering decent defense. He's good on the boards, of course. But boy, is his offensive game. You just double him. He's going to have an issue here. Not uncommon for freshmen, but yeah, we're starting to see that become an issue here. And outside of that, Jesse McCulloch, not reliable. Denon Wojcik, you know the story there. Trey Fort, hot and cold, but it's like 80% cold, 20% hot. Yeah, I got to say, there's concerns about this team. The depth is also a big concern here. I think I'm not going to back away from what I've been saying. Like, I think with their defense and their rebounding, they still can put a dent in a March Madness run. But whoa, the depth issues that we're seeing game by game are also a reason why, like, my percentage of reaching the Final Four is going from like 10% to 8%. to 6%. So I'm trying to hang on, guys. I truly am. Anyway, guys, the Swole Catholic Gamer wrote in, State played bad for a while there, but the officiating was pretty bad too. Yeah, that was suspect at the end of the game. Won't go further into that. Thornton got his, and MSU was able to bring it back thanks to Scott, Cooper, and Fears. And yeah, that trio in the second half, outstanding. So we'll leave it at that. We're going to get to the bigger picture. What's next for seeding, and also the tournament bracket early reveal or whatever that thing was on Saturday. And Michigan State's in it. My thoughts on that. And also, let's talk about hockey just for a quick second here at the end of the show, guys. But first, need to talk your ears off about Mazda, because this is Mazda's moving the game forward for those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. Now, of course, you got to highlight Carson Cooper. Season high, 20 points, 11 rebounds. There's no Cooper playing today's basketball game. There's no Michigan State victory postgame show. Instead, this is a very sad 30 minutes we are all spending together. But yeah, Carson Cooper, he raised the bar, and also you want to throw in Jordan Scott there in that second half. Be my guess, guys. These remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and that I never quit. We put that same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Also, guys, FanDuel, they want to send you to the NBA Finals, and you actually won't believe how easy it is to get entered for a chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals in person with FanDuel, guys. Now, here's how it works. Opt in, use your profit boost on any NBA future, and yep, that's it. You're automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Like the whole experience, we're talking flights, tickets, the whole 9 yards, guys. So if you're already looking at the board, you're thinking about which team can make a deep run. If you want to believe in your Detroit Pistons, if you are a Motor City Spartan, of course, well, now's the perfect time to lock it in, guys, because now not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the NBA Finals. It does not get any better than that, guys. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so now what for Michigan State? 4 games left. That's it. Next 2 on the road, and this is where we're going to learn so much about our team before we just, end the season at Michigan and go throttling ourselves into the tournament here. This is massive. I mean, this is almost like a final exam before the final exam, if that was ever a thing in academics. But, guys, you're going to hit the road to Purdue on Thursday. Bart Torvik says you're going to be 7-point underdogs in that one. I'm not going to go as far as expecting a Michigan State victory here, but boy, howdy, does Purdue look more vulnerable than they did going into the season here. They can be defeated at Mackey, it turns out. And then right after that, it's going to be at Indiana on the following Sunday. Bart Torvik has that as a pick'em, a 0.1 point difference. They are favoring Michigan State right now, but it's a coin toss, guys. And then you're at home for Senior Day. Rutgers the following Thursday, 20.5-point favorites, the computers are telling you. And then the season finale at Michigan, 11-point underdogs in that one. But look, guys, I mean, at this point, it's all about seeding, right? Whether it's Big Ten tournament seeding, if that is something you care about, sure. Can Michigan State get up to the double bye, a top 4 seed? Yeah, they absolutely can. You still need some help for Nebraska losing a few games. Of course, if you win at Purdue on Thursday, that's only going to help your cause. But yeah, right now you're between a 5 or a 6 seed most likely. A 6 seed is more favorable because you avoid, like right now, I think it would be Michigan at the 1, Illinois at the 4, and then the 2 and the 3 are more inviting. But let's be honest. Okay, enough. Can we all have an honest dialogue? Let's lean in, guys. I like watching Michigan State win games. I think it's cool. It's my favorite thing actually in the entire world. Banners are cool. They do hang banners for the Big Ten tournament now. It's fun. Like, yeah, would I rather see Michigan State win the Big Ten tournament than lose it? Yeah, sure, I guess. If they go one and done though, are we really going to be losing that much sleep over it? Because let's go back to that comment we just read about 6 minutes and 17 seconds ago. This team's got depth issues. Do you really want this team winning a game Thursday, winning a game Friday, winning a game Saturday, and then who cares what happens Sunday? That's 4 games in 4 days on legs that are very important here, because at best you go 7 deep, And I don't even know if you do that at this point of the season. So does tournament seeding for the Big Ten really matter? In my opinion, no. Of course, if they lose on Thursday, if they lose on Friday, I'll get on here. I'll be a little bummed. But I'll tell you what, usually it takes me a full day to get over a Michigan State loss. I'll get over it in about 8 minutes. Because the eyes on the prize go for the March Madness tournament. That's right, guys. The national tournament. And look, the NCAA committee, they announced the first round of their seeding on Saturday just to let everyone know the lay of the land and see where everything stacks up for the top 16 seeds of the tournament. Now, right now, Michigan State, they are at a 14 seed. Or, I'm sorry, they're ranked 14, which puts them at a 4 seed right now. I'm going to go through the 16 teams just really quick in order. The 1 seeds in order of ranking. Michigan, and this was all before the games happened. This happened at noon on Saturday. Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Iowa State. Whatever. 2 seeds, UConn, Houston, Illinois, Purdue. 3 seeds, Florida, who's white hot, Kansas, Nebraska, Gonzaga, and then the 4 seeds, Texas Tech. There's your Michigan State Spartans, and then right behind them, Vanderbilt and Virginia. So here's what the region would look like for Michigan State. They would be put in the West region with 1 seed Arizona, 2 seed Purdue, 3 seed Gonzaga, and then there's 4 seed Michigan State right there, which, honestly, there's a contract in front of me that I could sign to have that. That looks pretty good because all the other ones, like 1 Michigan, 2 Houston, 3 Florida, absolutely that F not. No, no. I would opt out of the tournament at that point. South region, 1 Iowa State, whatever, 2 UConn, 3 Nebraska, doable. But the East region, 1 Duke, 2 Illinois, 3 Kansas, I'm all set there. But anyway, like my other big takeaways from the top 16 seeds being announced, you want my honest, like, hooked up to a polygraph answer? Great. Who cares? Like, I'm a cynic. I am a cynic when it comes to these kind of shows, and maybe I'm letting my judgment get blinded by the whole college football playoff committee and that whole process. But I have no faith in these committees, like making smart, sound decisions and actually sticking to the rules that they have made for themselves here. And does this even really matter at this point in the season? I know we're on the doorstep of conference tournament season, but there's also 300 plus regular season games left. There's a lot that's going to happen here in these last 4 games for Michigan State and around the country. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I know it's different committees, this committee and the college football playoff committee, but we also just saw a few months ago, Notre Dame ranked way ahead of Miami. Both teams win out of their seasons. And yes, Miami should have been ahead of Notre Dame, of course, but like all that they did was just take care of business, and then for some reason the committee decided at the very end, okay, yeah, we're just going to have Miami finally leapfrog Notre Dame. That was fun. All these shows do are just TV number generators, just stirring the pot for social media and for idiots like myself to talk about. Like, for example, you want to know what gets my goat? Gonzaga as a 3 seed. Get out of here with that. I mean, sure, yeah, they have wins against Kentucky, UCLA. That's fun. I could also think of another team that has wins against those teams. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Michigan State. And yeah, sure, like they beat Alabama, of course, earlier this season. They beat Arizona State, but me, you, and your 3 best friends could probably beat Arizona State at this point of the season. And then their 5th best win, Santa Clara. Woo, Santa Clara. Shout out Garrick Normand. Hope everything's going okay over there. Yeah, it's like, it doesn't matter. No, I don't think it does. Anyway, guys, let's talk about Michigan State hockey here for a second. This is how we're going to end the show because, yeah, it's getting to crunch time for our icy Spartans, and something very fun happened. That's right. Not just in Italy. That was a great game. God, that was awesome to watch. But not something fun happened in East Lansing Thursday and Friday night. Thursday night, 4-2 win over Notre Dame in a game where both teams were just better off calling their own penalties. That was an officiated game like I've never seen in hockey. I'm not going to claim to have seen thousands of hockey games, but I've seen a lot and enough to know that that was on both sides out of control. Anyway, Michigan State wins 4-2 against Notre Dame. Porter Martone, Charlie Stramel, each with a goal and assist on Thursday. And then Friday night, woo! I wonder if her football team will score this much against Notre Dame this fall. They won 8-2 on a Porter Martone hat trick. So that's all fun and well. And then you look across the road and, oh my goodness, Michigan, you split your series. with Wisconsin. And that puts Michigan State in the driver's seat for their third straight Big Ten title. Let's get to the situation, guys, okay? Because right now you look at the standings, Michigan, they are up 1 point on the Spartans, but wait a minute. They only got 2 games left. That's right. Against Minnesota at home this weekend. Michigan State down 1 point. They have 4 games left. All right, so 4 chances to get points. Michigan, just 2 chances to get points. It's as easy as that. Michigan State, they are home against Ohio State this weekend and then on the road the following weekend to finish the season at Minnesota. So this is courtesy of our guy, Jeremy Dewar. He tweeted this out. And I try my best to double check, even though it seems like simple math at this point. But yeah, the magic number for Michigan State to get their third straight title is 8. Now, the magic number means any combination of points Michigan State gets in their series and also added with points that Minnesota gets against Michigan this weekend here. So could Michigan State wrap it up this weekend? They absolutely could. Michigan State sweeps. They win both games of regulation. Bang, they're 6 points. And then Minnesota, get creative, like 2 overtime losses for Minnesota. That would also be 2 points for them. 6 plus 2. Last I checked, that's 8. That would be a Big Ten championship. Or let's say Michigan State regulation win, overtime win for 2 points, and then just 1 regulation Minnesota win. That's 3. Plus 2, plus 3, that's 8. There's plenty of combinations, guys. But yeah, could be wrapped up this weekend. If not this weekend, then could be wrapped up the following weekend. Michigan State, though, controls their own destiny, and it doesn't hurt to have help from a Gopher, of course. So come on, Minnesota, be somebody. I know it's been an underwhelming season for you, but let's just circle the wagons and take care of business against Michigan. Let's go, guys. All right, guys, we will be back, of course, because we do this all the time here. This is Locked On Spartans. We do this 5 days a week, guys. Thanks a lot for making us part of your either weekend routine, the first start of your week routine, whatever it is, guys. Thanks a lot for listening to us. You guys are all the best. Take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go.